Indeed, it is time for week 6 already of our confidence picks here on Bigger 10. I'm Steve Deace. He's Aaron McIntyre. Aaron, give us the update. Where do things stand?
Last week, you went almost perfect. You got everything except for Illinois over Purdue, but it didn't hurt you that much. You had that at your lowest confidence pick at 1. And you got your bonus, Michigan State plus 12.5 over Iowa. Although on Saturday that closed as a Iowa as a 10-point favorite, and they won by 10 points. Vegas always
Funny how that works.
knows. Rutgers over Wagner. I got everything right except again for Illinois over Purdue, but I had that at my 4 spot. And I did get my bonus bet of Illinois and Purdue over 53. I made that pick because that was the line that stood out and looked weirdest to me. I thought it should have been lower, so I went over. Just trusted Vegas, knew what they were talking about, and that hit for me as well, which makes our new total. You extended your lead by a few points over me. You were leading by 2 points last week. You now lead by 5, 343 to 338, which brings us to week 6, Steve.
Still amazes me it's that close with all this variance now, but let's get to it. Just 6 games this week because I may never get a chance to do this again. I'm going to make Northwestern my most confident pick. Playing Howard, they have to win that game.
See, I thought about doing that as well, but I'm not going to put my 6 point, my highest point thing in Northwestern's hands.
I get that. My 5 point game is Ohio State over Maryland. Here's the issue. When you're trying to play a team that plays your same style and they're more talented than you, I just think that's really hard. And so that's the next 2 games to me. Maryland wants to play very similar to the way Ohio State does. They're just going to do it with better players in Columbus. Same thing with Michigan and Minnesota. Minnesota's program looks a lot like Michigan's. Michigan just does it with a completely different level of recruiting base than what Minnesota has. My 3 point game is Iowa over Purdue. My 2 point game is Wisconsin over Rutgers. There's something about that game. I don't know.
Got your spidey senses tingling?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Contrasting style, a little bit.
And Shiano and the way they play defense.
Yeah,
and
that's what
just the spidey sense is tingling about that one. And I'm going to go 1 point, and I don't know who to pick in this game. So I'll go with Illinois because it's at home. But I think every conceivable scenario is on the table with Illinois and Nebraska. One team blows out the other. They play 5 overtimes, right? This is a rock fight. Nobody plays any defense. I mean, I think every outcome is on the table. It's a very intriguing game. My bonus pick this week, it's not intentional that I just keep picking Iowa. But last week I just did it because there was no other spread that I really liked. This week I love this line. And it goes back to what I said on Bigger 10 yesterday. I love what Cade McNamara did for my Wolverines. But the way that he was playing and how inefficient this offense was, I just don't believe his loss is worth like 4 points. Because I think the line would be at least 6 for Iowa if McNamara was playing. I just don't know how big of a drop-off it is just because of the state of Iowa's offense in general. So this is just, Iowa will, block a kick, return a kick, get a pick 6, win this sucker like 21-17, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah.
So I'll lay the 2. Hawkeyes at home against Purdue.
All right, my picks. I've got Michigan over Minnesota. I'm going with power rankings here, basically, and I just think Michigan, again, that similar style of offense and similar approach, really on both sides of the ball, but just with better talent. Michigan over Minnesota. I mean, it's getting colder, but it's going to be upper 40s by the time kickoff comes around. It's not like Michigan players aren't used to cooler weather. Northwestern over Howard. I did, like I said, consider them putting them at 6, but I do have them at 5. Again, I have to think that they handle Howard pretty well. Ohio State at Maryland. Of those 3, kind of in that tier of very confident, I've got them at the lowest confidence. In my very confident group. Ohio State over Maryland. You said, they've got better players, and that's true, except for, are we sure about the quarterback position, which happens to be the most important position on the field. So I would say, that's kind of my hedge there. I, too, am a little leery about Wisconsin and Rutgers. I don't know. Wisconsin is still building their offense right now. Rutgers has built a defense. So that, if Wisconsin gets off to a start where they're kind of lollygagging or sleepwalking, turned it over a couple of times, Rutgers could cut them. 2, I am picking the mild upset, Nebraska over Illinois. I just have to think one of these games, Nebraska is going to put it together at least enough. And you're getting an Illinois team, as we talked about yesterday on Bigger Ten, where we don't know where they are right now, mentally or really as a program. So I think Nebraska's getting them at an okay time. And then number one, I've got, call it an emotional hedge if you want. But I was shocked. I was shocked by the 2.5 point spread as well. But instead of kind of doing the math that you did, I did the math of I'm just already assuming that Vegas knows what Vegas knows, not something, they just know that this is probably closer to a toss-up than anything. Because that's basically home field advantage. So I'm going Purdue over Iowa. I do think they will roll into Iowa City, and it'll be a very ugly game. And Iowa, again, turnovers helped them last week. Previous weeks, they really haven't. I think we might be seeing overall this season kind of a regression to the mean with Iowa and turnovers on defense. So I'm going Purdue over Iowa. I did not pick that on my point spread, though. My bonus pick is Maryland, Ohio State under 57. This is going to be Maryland's biggest test on offense with Ohio State's defense. I do think Maryland could be streaky in this game a little bit, maybe a couple of drives where they score a couple of times in a row, and then they could go kind of cold for a while. I could see this one ending up something like 31-21, something like that, 35-21. Mm-hmm. It'll be close to that total there.
With the way Maryland plays offense, the back door is going to be open the whole game, basically.
Basically, yeah. And so I'm just banking on the public loves their overs, so I'm going to zig to that zag, especially when they see a game like this.
All right, good stuff. Let's see how we do next week right here on the channel. Enjoy the games. We'll see you next week right here on Bigger Ten.